My mission is to impact the hearts and minds of women, helping them change their stories and empowering them to love themselves, their bodies, and their lives. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Change Your Story podcast. I'm Hannah Dawson, your host and transformation coach. I'm a certified personal trainer, nutritionist, mindset coach, writer, speaker, and creator of the Fit Club Babes app, and I am here to help you transform your life. While I love teaching all things nutrition and fitness, and trust me, you'll get lots of that on here, my true passion lies in the power of mindset and self-relationship. I know firsthand how powerful a mindset shift can be. It has profoundly impacted not only my health and fitness journey, but also my relationship with myself, and it can do the same for you too. Many women believe as we age, we lose our beauty, body, and health, but that's not true. You can feel and look amazing and get better with age, and I'm going to show you how. Are you ready to change your story? Let's flip the script one thought at a time. What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the Change Your Story podcast. I am so excited to be here with you for the final episode of Lessons and Reflections from, the cost of chasing perfection, and really how that led me to changing my story. And I really wanted to be able to reflect and give the lessons that I learned through that time, because you guys, as you've seen through my whole story, you might think, my story really changed when I moved to Edmonton and quit drinking. But, and then I got the second chance of life, but my story didn't actually change at that moment. It did to a point, but my story didn't really change until later on, because really I was still running. I was still running mentally from myself. I was still, pursuing external love and validation, and I was still rejecting who I was. And the more babies I had, and the more, things I had, and the more my career advanced, or the more praise I got, or, all of these things, I was so caught up in. If my husband was cranky one day, I would take it so personally. If things didn't work out, I would take it so personally. Something is wrong with me. Like, my relationship with myself was so broken and so circumstantial. And so that is the first thing that I want to talk to today. I have 8 lessons and reflections that I really want to share with you. And I really hope that they bring you clarity for whatever maybe you're going through in your life. It may not be exactly the same, but I totally believe transformation can happen just by one thought, can awaken something in us and shift the way we think or the way we see something, and it can change everything in our life. It can have literally a ripple effect in our life. So I hope that this episode does this for you, and I'm so excited to get into it today. And so, the first one is just really, I really thought that, controlling my body, or like I said, excelling in my career, or achieving this perfect look would finally make me feel worthy and make me feel enough. And, and I pursued this, and I think it started as a child when I first lost weight, right? Just like all the shame and all these things that I felt I had no control over, fitness, became such an anchor for me, but also was a double-edged sword, because I really, put my worth in how I looked, and I had never got attention like that. And so I took that attention as love. And so that's how I kind of started to mirror to love myself. Like, you have to look this certain way. So I started creating conditions for myself based on what approval I was getting from others, whether that was, real approval or not. That is something I started to take on as a belief. And so, my first point that I want to make, ladies, with yourself is your relationship with yourself has to be first priority. You cannot have a healthy relationship with anybody else. You can have everything that you want until you have a healthy relationship with you. Like, nothing will ever make you love yourself or make you feel enough until you start loving yourself unconditionally. And that was that time in the mirror when I really, it was like I was almost standing outside of myself when I was looking at myself in the mirror, and the thoughts that I had of like, could you just love her as she is now? And I remember thinking, like, I never thought that before, and I didn't want to, and I had all these weird emotions. Does this mean that I'm never going to get the body I want? Or like everything, I had such a security blanket to the way I looked, or to be a certain weight or body fat percentage. And not saying that there's anything wrong with that, but my pursuit of that was my love for myself was based on that, or looking a certain way. So I had to let go of those things, which was scary for me because I really built my identity around those things. And so, kind of like a game of whack-a-mole, addiction will always jump, and addiction was always a side effect. It was always a symptom of something deeper, right? We have these coping mechanisms. That's why I love to call this life beyond recovery, because doesn't matter what addiction we have, we all have addictive personalities to a point. Hey, we have social media now. That can be addicting all in itself. It can steal our time away from our children, from relationships, from getting to know ourselves more. Like, there's all these different levels of addiction that we have to deal with. And so we want to get to a life beyond feeling like we're jumping from one recovery to the next. And really the only way to do that is to just stop running, stop finding ways to escape, stop finding ways to run from dealing with the discomfort, right? We have to learn to sit in the discomfort of our feelings, because in order to heal, we must feel. And we must feel those uncomfortable feelings. We must let them come up, because if we keep them in, they become poison. It's like we're poisoning ourselves. It doesn't do us any good to keep all that in, because we'll find ways to deal with it externally, whether that's alcohol, whether that's drugs, whether that's obsessive with our body image, or with just different ways. Whatever your way is, plastic surgery, whatever it is, we have things that we will go to because we are actually running from ourselves. We're running from dealing with those emotions. We're avoiding, and avoiding, we can't heal. And so we have to learn that we cannot outrun ourselves, that we have to be able to look ourselves in the mirror and love that woman, and love her no matter what, love her with no conditions. And I was just thinking about this the other day. I actually was recording a podcast interview with a guest that we're going to have on in a bit, and we were talking about this, and it was this, is that if you lost everything today, your status, your career, your body, your family, and it was just you, would you be okay? Like, who are you without everything? And for some of you, that could be a very scary thought. Who are you without the clothes, without the designer, without the money, without the career, without the status, without the friends, without whatever it is that you kind of attach your identity to? Who would you be without those things? And if you don't know, that's a really good place to start. And it's a really good sign that you need to start building your relationship with yourself. And the only way that we can really build that relationship with ourselves is self-love. It's healing. It's sitting with the discomfort of those emotions, with those memories, and we have to heal. In order to heal, we have to feel, And so you have to be willing to go through, whatever it is for you that you are finding, that you are avoiding. And hey, sometimes we cannot be aware of things until we actually start seeking healing. And when we start seeking healing, it's not going to come in a way that it came for me. It's probably going to come in a way different way for you. But the important thing is that you are becoming aware, and you are taking the steps to healing, to dealing with those emotions and with those feelings. You can't avoid, there's no, the more you keep the past locked away and you're like, I don't want to deal with it, leave the past in the past, those things are just going to haunt you. Those things are going to come up in behaviors and patterns and broken belief systems that are going to seep and ooze into other parts of your life. And you're going to feel like, why am I stuck? Or why can't I move past this? Or why is this always happening to me? Has nothing to do with outside circumstances. Girl, I'm telling you, it has to do internally. Your belief systems are broken. You're not dealing with the feelings. You're not dealing so that you can heal. And until you heal those, it's literally going to affect every area of your life. And this can show up in so many different ways. But I'm telling you, once you start to feel and heal, you will never want to go back to those prisons. Like, I can't even, and of course it's like an onion, right? You're going to have new levels of healing and awareness, but it's so much more freeing because you know that it's like that pain that you felt because you weren't dealing with it is so much worse than the pain of just dealing with the feelings. Like, it's like getting the sliver pulled out. Like, leaving it in is going to hurt more than the pain of getting it pulled out, right? It's only for a second, and then you just it's like this new level of healing, and it's just so amazing. And I want that for you. I want you to feel that, because that is what happened for me. And I can tell you, it wasn't overnight. It really, started when I did move to Edmonton. It was a layer of changing my story. I just wasn't really aware, right? I wasn't aware that it was internally I had to change. I just literally changed my physical environment first. And then I met my husband he helped me get sober. And I got that life that I always dreamt of, the man of my dreams. And then we had babies, and that is what I thought I wanted. And that's all I thought I wanted. And it still is what I want. But I just kept using that to avoid. I didn't realize that really my story was going to change later on when I actually started looking inside and dealing with those. So your relationship with yourself is going to be number one priority. You have to prioritize that, no matter what you believe now, no matter what someone has told you, no matter what people have said around you, no matter what your religious beliefs say. If you do not love yourself first, nothing in your life will work like it should for you, like you want it to for you. So you have to pursue that. And so my next kind of lesson or reflection for you is the number one key to doing that is working on your mindset. This was life changing for me. And really, I would work on my mindset, my heart set in my faith. So going to church, reading my Bible, that was really the start of it. My relationship with God went beyond church. It went beyond religion. It was something, like I shared in my story, it was something in those dark moments. I wasn't attached to church. I wasn't attached to, religion. It was like supernatural. And so for me, that was very sacred. And that always, that always helped me pursue this supernatural. When I would pray, it was just so special to me. So that was kind of like working on my spirituality. But it really my spirituality even got stronger once I learned about mindset. And once I learned how to develop mindset, and I didn't really understand this until I was a Beachbody coach. And this is funny because, it really did play a role in my life. And I really believe it came into my life for that reason, to teach me that lesson. And so in Beachbody, they have you have to work out, you have to do 20 minutes of personal development, and then food. So it was training, it was workouts, I think, mindset, and nutrition. And that mindset aspect, and this is something that I apply even in my community today. It's something that literally impacted me so much, was that mindset stuff. So I became addicted to reading mindset books and really growing personal growth. And if you're going to be addicted to anything, ladies, I say be addicted to growing yourself, to evolving, to never staying the same, staying stagnant. There's nothing worse than not moving. And I don't mean attaining material things, although that can be a sign of it, or your body transforming. Yes, that can be a sign of it. But it's really like this
this mental growth. It's really this, your awareness growing as a human being. You start becoming more patient. You start becoming more loving. You start becoming more positive. You start having a different outlook on life. And it's just such a powerful thing. So one thing that I will say when it comes to working on your mindset is you have to be willing to challenge your belief systems. And so I had to really go back to the time I was a little girl and like, okay, where did my belief systems get broken? What beliefs did I take on as true, even if they weren't true? Because here's what I want to tell you, that we all have broken belief systems. I don't care how perfect. Maybe you thought your parents were, so perfect. No, they had broken belief systems too. And we are products of our environment. So we will learn what we've learned in our environment. As a child, we learn the language. We don't just learn how to speak the language. We actually learn the belief systems from that. So there's broken belief systems, whether it's your mom had certain beliefs about who she was, her body, what she could do, you're going to take those on. So you have to kind of go through those and you have to challenge those and go, that is not me. And that's kind of one of the hardest things to go through, because you realize, especially if you're a mom and you're starting to go through your own childhood, you're like, I'm going to have to learn to accept and love my child and their belief system and help them choose their own belief system that's going to grow them into the person that they want to be. So you have to be willing to do that for yourself. And so, I really started pursuing this relationship with myself and working on my mindset. And so I really, fell in love with reading Louise Hay. If you don't know who she is, look her up. She's an amazing, incredible, loving woman. She's passed away now. But her books are so good. I did the 21-day mirror, and I'm going to do it again. Actually, it's the mirror challenge or the self-love challenge. And you have to talk to yourself every day in front of the mirror. And this was really really powerful. But she has so many books. And in her books, she says this quote, and it goes like this: a belief is just a thought, and a thought can be changed. And I don't know, that unlocked something in my mind, because I never thought that before. I thought beliefs were set in stone, what my family told me to believe, the way they believed. I never thought about it as a thought. And I knew that you can change your thoughts. So once she said that, it really just unlocked something. So I started to go through those belief systems and challenge them. And I started to say, I don't believe that. Just because they believe that, it doesn't work for me in my life. It's not getting me freedom where I need to go. So I reject that. I don't believe that. I'm going to create a new belief system. And so you have to start, you really have to start challenging those belief systems. But like the law of a vacuum, there's the law of the vacuum that says, what leaves you must replace with something, or it will suck that thing back in. I'm probably saying this so wrong. I should get the definition out. But look up the law of the vacuum. And so it's like anything. It's like when you get rid of whether it's a belief system or an addiction, you need to replace that right away with something. Or that it will just suck back up what you were doing before, and maybe even worse. So you have to replace those old belief systems. You have to replace those old addictions. That's why I think a lot of people that, and I'm speaking to addiction because this is my experience, is, and I've seen this my whole life, and people family members, is that they don't change their belief systems and they don't change their habits. So they change the initial addiction and get sober, but they haven't changed their environment and the way that they live and their new habits. And, I've shared this before, like when me and my husband, when I first got sober, he had such a routine. He would get up in the morning. He had like the bodybuilder lifestyle. We'd go to the gym at 5 a.m., chicken and rice and blah, blah, blah. And like, it was very simple. And like, anytime I'd be invited out to parties or to do something, he was just my protector because he had fallen off so many times. So he really kept me safe. And I had friends, at the gym and stuff, or even like clients that would comment, about that we are weird, or that we'd get up early, that's so not normal, or you're so boring. Like I literally would have people say this, maybe in a joking way, but it used to hurt my feelings. And now I look back and I'm like, yeah, but that system kept me sober. Would you want to see the opposite of me? Because you do not want to know her. She's crazy. Like, she has no boundaries, no control, no self-discipline. So that system, that safety, that environment is why I am where I am today. So, that's why I didn't go to AA. I didn't go to rehab. My environment changed. I think there's a study in James Clear said in his book, Atomic Habits. You have to read that book too if you want to work on personal growth. I recommend that book. And he talks about how they did a study on these guys in war. Okay, so the guys in war, they would be hooked on heroin and to deal with the pain. And so when the war was over and they would go home, the people that didn't live in that particular area, or they went home to their back home to their environment, the addiction would just leave, because it was the environment that would trigger them. So there's certain triggers in the environment. So if your environment doesn't change, or the habits don't change, you're going to be triggered to go back to the old patterns and habits. So things in your environment have to change. Your systems, your routines, they have to change. And so that comes from working on your mindset. That comes from dealing with belief systems and setting your environment up so that it helps foster those new belief systems. It's like having a garden. Both weeds and flowers can grow in the same place, but eventually those weeds are going to suck out the flowers, suck the life out of the flowers. They're going to take over really fast. So you have to make sure that the environment that you're placing yourself in is a garden of other flowers. And so your environments, your surroundings, your people, they need to be on the same level, the same mindset. You cannot hang around broken, addicted, recovering people all the time. You have to get around people that are in a lifestyle, whether that's mentally, physically, spiritually, financially, that you have goals of. And when you're around them, that's going to pull that out of you. And then the next thing, you guys, kind of what I was talking about is the next lesson is your habits and the process of becoming your daily habits. So what you do daily matters. Who you are becoming in the process matters even more. And so, changing your story, like I said, all of these things kind of build on the next. You have to challenge your belief system. You have to make sure your environment is setting you up. So what you do daily and the process of who you are becoming matters so much. It's about setting yourself up daily with small intentions and actions to help you build a healthier relationship with yourself, your mindset practices, your routines, your faith, your fitness. Like, all of this is working on your relationship with yourself. When you move your body, I've said this 1,000 times. When you take care of your body will take care of you. Your body takes care of you anyways, but it's going to be even better if you help it. Like, your body can only do for you what you help it do. So if you are, if you have a lot of bad habits, or you're not eating healthy, or you have a lot of addiction issues, you're not helping your body, you're actually hurting it. And so it's just a product of what you're doing. Your thought systems, if they are negative, if they are toxic, it's going to show up in your habits in your life and what you do. So you have to have these daily habits that you incorporate. And so when I got sober, and like I said, my faith was huge to me. Praying, it was sacred to me. It was this beautiful thing that I just really experienced something, this power that, that I couldn't explain. And it was very special to me. It became this anchor for me. But my fitness always was was an anchor for me as well. And I didn't realize until later on, even like in the last, probably, I would say 3 years, is the power of what fitness does on your brain, and in the chemicals within your body. Like, I knew that, but I didn't understand to the extent of how powerful weightlifting was. They did a study in Australia that said that exercise alone was 1.8 times more effective than counseling or medication. So I had exercise, I had prayer and meditation. They say also has an effect on the mind and the brain. So I had these systems and these daily habits that just anchored me, and they are where I am today. But I still had to work on my relationship with myself. I had to work on those belief systems. So I did personal growth. I would read books that would help me deal with that. I would pray. I would write down my goals. And then when I really, took the turn of changing my story, I had to start talking to myself differently. I had to change my inner dialogue of how I would speak to myself inside my mind, of how I would, every time I would look at myself in the mirror, I had to make sure I encouraged her and said beautiful things to her. And I had to talk about my body in a healthy way. I'm very careful with my words now. I don't say things about myself sarcastically. I make sure that what I'm saying is something that I want to receive, because what you say will happen. Your words manifest. And so what you speak over yourself, if it's not something you want to manifest in your life, stop saying it. Just don't say anything at all. And just really start writing out positive things. Like, there's so many things that, like, when you work on your mindset, and if your relationship and your inner dialogue's not good with yourself, you need to start journaling and need to start writing affirmations and saying them over and over and over and over again, and practice talking to yourself in the mirror, and just practice not saying anything at all. Don't agree with negative things that people say about you or to you. Just reject them, because you have to protect yourself and your relationship with yourself, and it will start to get stronger, right? The more you pursue, and this is my next lesson, is the more you pursue your relationship with yourself, don't be surprised that if what you thought you wanted or needed no longer aligns with you anymore. And so, when I first moved to Edmonton, and the things that I initially thought I wanted helped pull me out of that, but they ended up not being what I truly wanted anymore. Like the pursuit of looking or being a certain way. Yes, I love taking care of myself, but not to the extent of what I thought. And so when you're pursuing what you think that you want, and the more you reflect, your desire for what you truly want will start to shift. The more you build a healthier relationship with yourself, the more certain things will just kind of fall away that you thought you wanted. The more you will, like, even people, places, and things that maybe you enjoyed will no longer just align with you anymore. You'll just feel internally. You'll feel that gut feeling like, oh, I don't like this anymore. Like, this doesn't feel, it's like trying to make a puzzle piece fit that doesn't fit. That will start happening. And so just remember, ladies, that this journey, it's about embracing your ability to grow and evolve, and allowing yourself space to grow and evolve and change, because it's okay that what you once did, maybe you don't do anymore. It's okay to grow. It's okay to change and evolve, as long as you are growing and moving forward. Not everybody can go with you, and not everybody is meant for you. And as long as you keep hanging on to those people, places, and things, even though you're feeling pulled away from them, if you keep hanging on to them, you're not going to move into that person that you're meant to be. Your story won't change. You have to learn to let go and let God. And when you let go and you let God, things will start to flourish in your life. New people, new environments, new opportunities will start to come into your life. And so the next lesson in reflection, is this. It's the cost of feeding the beast. And I wanted to throw this in here. I know it kind of just seems random, but I don't want to forget that there is a cost to everything. And if you don't stop feeding the beast, I like to call it, it only gets stronger. The more you feed it, the more stronger it gets. And so when we're chasing things outside of us, and not pursuing that self-love, that relationship with ourselves, the more we pursue those external things to fill us internally, the emptier we start feeling. It's like an addict. So the more they use, the more they need to use, and the stronger the withdrawals get. And I felt this honestly when I got Botox, which really sucks, because I really wanted to, I keep even thinking now, maybe there will be a time when I do decide to get it, and that's okay, as long as my relationship with myself is healed. But it just did something to me. Even the thought of it started to make me feel unsatisfied with myself, and I could recognize it because I used to be an addict, so I can recognize that feeling. I can recognize that hunger, that addiction, that never enough feeling. And some of you, this comes from other things, but you have to recognize that feeling of it's never enough. When you feel that, that's a huge red flag that you need to let that go, that you need to deal with that, right? There's so many things that that can pull us away from when we're trying to work on ourselves. And that was another huge thing that I noticed when I started to work on myself. That voice doesn't go away right away. It's kind of it's a really strong pull in the beginning, right? It's the thing that we would go to numb. So like I said, it will play like a game of whack-a-mole. So you'll start to work on yourself healing, your relationship with yourself, start to work on mindsets, and different beliefs will start to pop up, like the game of whack-a-mole. And you have to be willing to question them and not go back to your old patterns of trying to numb. Because when we try to numb those feelings away, we're literally feeding that beast. We're feeding that, okay, don't deal with it now, this will be better. So that's why you'll see a lot of people go from addiction, from drugs and alcohol, to food, or to eating disorders, or to gambling, or to shopping, or to sex. They're trying to get another high in a different way to not deal. So it's just a numbing. So you have to be very aware of those mental patterns and those beliefs that will try to come up and get you to not feel, right? The beast, whatever it is, I always call it feeding the beast, because it's just this really strong, overpowering feeling. You have to be willing to starve the shit out of it. And the more you starve it, the more you feel your feelings and sit in the discomfort, that is starving it. So I had to sit in the discomfort of not chasing weight loss, of not getting plastic surgery, or not plastic surgery, but Botox. I had to sit in that discomfort, because it was discomfort, because I was so attached to this identity I had created, this look I had created. And I thought, what if I don't look like her? I'm a fitness trainer. Will people leave me? And so I had a lot of these fears start to pop up. If I don't look like this other person, because I did for a long time, not growing up in a home where you have very good role models, you will look elsewhere for role models. And so I did that for a long time, and it did work, and maybe it was good for me at that time. But as I started to grow my relationship with myself, I had to let go of those identities. I couldn't be like so-and-so or like this other fitness influencer. I had to be me. And that was really hard, because I built an identity on trying to be them, right? And so I had to let go and know that I was just enough by myself. And that's why I asked you in the last few lessons, reflections ago, is that who would you be without everything? If you can't answer that, then you really need to work on your relationship with yourself. And so one of the second to last points, ladies, that I really want to share with you, and this is really, really powerful, is when you start to deal and start to feel and start to pursue this relationship with yourself and changing your story, you're not only healing yourself, you are healing generations to come. Because like it or not, what we do gets passed on to generations. So whatever we're dealing with is because of generations before us. Belief systems actually get passed on from the way that our parents raised us, based on the way that their parents raised us, unless our parents totally pursued a life of really trying to grow themselves. But even still, we're always evolving. So we have to be willing to question belief systems. We have to be willing to break cycles for future generations. It's so cool to me that me and my husband both come from, both of our sides of our family that have addiction issues. Mine very heavily, poverty, poverty mindset. And we've broken that for our girls. We have broken that cycle of like physical addiction to substances, but also to broken mindsets and broken belief systems. And it's just so cool to me to see that like we have the ability to give our kids better than what we had, and to teach them how to have their own belief systems, to teach them how to grow into the people that they're supposed to be, give them space. And the more you grow, the more you evolve, the more love and space you have for them to be them. And the more healing will come from you to them to into the next generations, into the mindset. And so it's just so cool. And so the next thing that I want to share, ladies, with you, the next lesson in reflection is this, is that trusting yourself and the timing of healing. You have to trust your body, trust yourself, and press into the feelings. Healing does not happen overnight, and it's going to happen in such a different way for everybody. From what it happened for me, what is going to happen to you is going to be so beautiful. And so you have to be patient. That you have to be patient with how it's going to look. You can't try to figure out how it's going to happen or when it's going to happen. You just have to trust and believe. You have to trust your body. That was huge for me. I had to trust my body because, my battle with my image and my battle with my weight, I had to trust my body. I had to trust my body and the creator that made me, that everything would be okay. And I had to push into the uncomfortable feelings. Sitting in the discomfort was one of the most powerful things. It actually kind of builds that resilience and that discipline and that, that extreme patience, which take you so far in life, which really builds something so powerful within you. And I really had to trust myself and the timing of my healing, and trust that I would be healed. Right? Trust that I would become the person that I meant to. And that was the most powerful thing, was learning to trust myself. And it was a part of when I really learned to trust myself, it was really me loving myself. And the last thing that I want to share before we sum up this podcast, I'm just so grateful for you all listening. I really hope this has really empowered you. I hope this has really shed some light on any darkness that you may be going through, awakened anything that, is the real you inside of you. That is my hope and my prayer. But let's finish off this by saying changing your story is going to require courage, okay? Changing your story is going to require courage to challenge the beliefs that are keeping you stuck right now. It's okay to challenge the belief systems. It doesn't matter if your mamas did it. You have to love yourself enough to create your own path. It's not about doing it the way they did it. It's about doing it the way that you're supposed to do it. You can challenge those belief systems. It's okay. And when you start challenging those belief systems, you're going to be able to start rewriting your story. And it's not easy, but the more you pursue it, the more you start trusting yourself and trusting in, in this power that created you and put you here for a purpose, knowing that your path is not going to be like anybody else's. You'll start trusting that. And your story and these chapters are going to start just unfolding and writing in such a beautiful way. And I'm so excited for you, because the fact that you're listening to this right now tells me it's already happening. It's already happening. Like when I moved to Edmonton, it was already happening. I wasn't aware. And yes, it was years and years later. I've lived here for 15 years now. So it's crazy to think how time flies. But just like me, your story will change in such a beautiful way. And when you change your story, ladies, you don't just change your life. You will break free from cycles holding you back. You'll create a new legacy of healing for generations to come. You guys, that is it. That is all. Thank you so much for being here. I love you so much. I would love to hear how this has helped you, the insights, the reflections that it has helped you with. I would love to hear, because sharing is caring. So share with me. You can email me. You can reach out to me on social media. And if you haven't and you are new to this podcast, make sure you hit that follow and tune in. If you haven't heard about the Fit Club app, this is my all-in-one transformation app. This is the place where, like I've shared with you, all the things that I have had to help me on my journey, from my mindset to my nutrition to my training. All of these things really have helped me both with my relationship with myself and change my life. And I've created a platform to help you as well. So everything will be in the show notes. I invite you to come and join and start changing your story one day, one chapter at a time. Love you so much. Bye for now.